Welcome to the SOR-EHS podcast where SHEroes me, and every episode we spill the tea on motherhood, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. Today I have a good friend of mine, Michelle. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to interview with me. She is a mom, she is a wife, she is a small business owner, she is a great friend, she is a daughter, she's a sister, she's all the things. So we're just going to share some of her truths today. How has your morning been today? How has motherhood been today, treating you today?
Hi everyone. It's been a little hectic. I'm
Yeah.
glad I made
Yeah.
it. But the kid is at school, so I was
That's
like, yeah, I
good.
definitely can have fun. Yeah.
So we got him to school. Did we get him to school on time?
No,
I love that question because it's like I never get my kid to school on
no,
time.
definitely not. We're like 15 minutes late.
We're like running with the backpack and the lunchbox, and she has
Yep.
her water bottle. And some days she's just like dragging her feet, and
At
I'm like,
least,
"Hello."
right? I don't
I'm
want
like,
to
"We're
go though.
late."
Oh, I need you to go.
She's just looking around like it's nothing.
No.
And I didn't tell everybody you're also pregnant too. So
Crazy.
on top of all the things, we're pregnant. How's your pregnancy been treating you so far?
A lot different than the first one. This one's a little rough. I was like, well, this might
Yeah,
be it. This definitely
yeah,
might be it. So
might
this one's
be
a
it.
little
Like
different.
more tired and
Mhm.
nauseous or
All the things,
oh
body
my gosh.
feels completely different. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to adjust, but
Was your first pregnancy really easy?
compared to this, yeah,
Okay.
this one I feel like I might be slowing down a lot sooner than I thought. The last one
Right.
I felt like I could go 7, 8 months.
Right.
I'm only in month 5 today, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't it.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's tough.
yeah.
Well, I hope the pregnancy kind of continues to not be so harsh on you and so you can do all the things. How
Thanks.
does that affect you being like a small business owner? So you have your son, you're
Mhm.
pregnant, and you're also a small business owner. So how has that been for you, like managing everything?
It's a big adjustment. I found like this season I try to give myself a lot more grace than before.
Right.
Um, So I'm not taking on as much. So that's a catch 22 because then it just feels like, oh, you're not doing enough. Um,
Right.
but I realize my body's important. If I
Yeah,
don't have it when the baby comes, then I won't be able to do anything at all. So
exactly.
the adjustment has been a little rough. But hopefully, I'm hoping like if as I continue to grow, then I'll have the ability to hire more people and then expand. So that way it's not all on me at one
Right.
time.
But I love that. Like you have to listen to your body. And I
Yeah.
think that as moms, a lot of times we don't listen to our bodies. We kind of just, we're just kind of like expected. It's like something inside of us that's like, just go, 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 go. And sometimes, especially with pregnancy, it's like, no, I have to slow down. So I'm glad you're listening to your body. What age did you become a mom? I like that question.
So I was 29 turning 30.
29, 30, turning 30 is when you first became a mom.
Hmm.
Okay. And do you think like the difference, because your son is 4,
Hmm.
right? So 4 years, there's going to be a 4-year gap in between. Do you think age plays a part in like your pregnancy and how you're feeling?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Because I think like at this point it should be a little bit more settled and I feel a little bit more scattered um,
Right, right.
with things and trying to make things happen. And
Yeah.
I think as age definitely is definitely a big factor.
Yeah, for me it was like I even though my kids are close together, I felt like the second pregnancy, like as I got older, I was like, okay, the first one I was like coaching basketball, real estate, school counselor, like I just was like energizer buddy. The
Yeah.
second one it was like, okay, I have one job and I
Well,
can and I can barely do and I can barely do that. Like I'm just I'm slowing down. So I definitely hang in there. I get it. It's definitely hard. For sure. Excuse me. If you had to give a piece of advice for moms, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give for moms?
I think enjoy the ride.
Mm,
I think because like everybody is always in a rush and sometimes
right,
even like rushing our kids like even this morning like we got to get going, right?
right.
but they're just here to enjoy life, like while they're under you. They're here to learn from you and stuff. And
Right.
it's a big responsibility, but it's so much fun. Like you get
Right.
to create humans that change the world.
Oh
And
my gosh, I love that.
yeah, I think sometimes we forget that. And so just not being in a rush, like just enjoy watching them grow.
Right.
And like even for the holidays, like my parents were here.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's like annoying parents, in-laws and stuff like that. But
Right.
good to see like what they've helped and what they've hurt along the way. But to
Right.
see their kids have become like decent, good human beings, and now they're having kids, and so they get to enjoy that. But we get to enjoy helping raise the next generation, which is
Right.
exciting because the world is crazy, but we get to add good to the world.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And what do you do to help yourself like slow down and just enjoy the ride? What do you implement in your family to make sure that you're slowing down to enjoy that?
Part of it is my child. Like he's always like, "Mommy, look, mommy, pay attention." So those
Yeah.
phrases are kind of like, "Okay, you have to stop," because he
Oh, I
really
love that.
is trying to get your attention. So
Right.
that's helpful. And then sometimes I'm just be like on my phone scrolling, like, "What am I doing?" Like this child is on
Right.
and then
Right.
he's like entertaining himself and I should be engaging with him. um,
Right.
so those moments like you catch yourself, you're like, wait, like this child is not doing anything with me, let me engage or figure out, or just him saying, hey, look at what I'm doing, like I need your attention.
I
Those are
love that. Yeah, and using that moment instead of to be like, "Hey, I'm doing something, wait." It's like,
right,
"Oh, let me stop what I'm doing and really
right,
like pay attention to see what he's doing and enjoy that moment."
right,
Oh, I love that. That's a good one. So, for all moms out there, take your time, enjoy the ride, be present, or find times to be present. Or if you don't know how to do that, build it in. So, what does that look like? I'm going to put my phone in my room, I'm going to
right,
close the door, and then I'm just going to have a no phone period for an hour. That's what that looks like because it forces you to be present with your kids. And, I sometimes see on social media, I saw a mom was like, I hate playing with my kids. Like, I just hate playing.
yeah,
It's not fun. And I agree in one aspect. It's not always fun to play Legos or blocks. It's not. But like Michelle said, you get to put some good into the world. You get to help build future leaders. So take that hour of play a day or however much time you can give to that and think of about like that. How am I going to do good in this world through my child? So I think that's like really solid advice. Thanks for sharing that. How do you stay organized? This is a question I'm asking for myself and also for moms out there because like I think I'm organized and then sometimes I'm like, Jennifer, like you have post-it notes here, you have a calendar. I buy calendars every year that I forget to use, and then I have my phone. I'm like an unorganized organized mess, if that makes sense. So how do you stay organized, like managing all the things that you manage? What helps you?
um I don't
Well, that's an honest answer too.
I think the like my job aspect, being a planner and event planner, that
Oh, okay.
kind of got down because I have a planner, so it's
Right.
organized. My calendar
Right.
is organized.
Right.
Everything outside that, it kind of flows. I've tried like, oh, we're gonna meal prep. We'll have
Right.
meals every day of the week. That doesn't always work out. Um,
Right.
tour list, that doesn't always work out.
Right.
And this is big where the grace factor comes in. And then you're home, like, who's gonna clean up all this mess? Like, it's,
Right.
that's another thing. But mostly I go week by week. And then if the week falls a little bit, we're just gonna try again next week.
Yeah.
Um, being so hard on yourself to have like the perfect organized life, especially when you see like moms on IG and stuff, like they have the perfect Target container store organization and stuff.
Right.
Lives are like set in order. And sometimes it's great, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. But sometimes it doesn't leave room for fun and spontaneous with your kids. Um,
Right.
so I just take it week by week. I try to organize a week, write out a plan, and if
Mhm.
something falls, that's okay. We're gonna try
Right.
next week. But I'm not
I
like
like that.
a nice person at all.
No, I'm not. I try to stay organized and I realize like I have to have a plan because it makes me feel better
Right?
about the week and about the day. So I have to have a plan Because if I
Right.
don't have a plan, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's a mess. But the plan doesn't always get followed. And that's what I like that you said is like, still give yourself grace. If you are that organized mom, that's great that your house looks like that. But if it doesn't, it's okay. But try to plan out your week. If it
Right.
doesn't fall, okay, next week. You said something really crucial that I hope people picked up on is if it didn't go according to plan this week, there's always next week to get it right. And if it doesn't work that week, you just keep striving to get it
Right.
right until you find something that works for your family. So
Right.
that's really good. So you plan it by weeks. I like that.
And you'd be surprised, like eventually you'll be noticing like, oh snap, this actually does work, and didn't even do anything super crazy to make it work. It just
Right.
starts to kind of pick up its own pace.
Sure.
Um, and then you don't feel as guilty. Maybe something else will come up, but then again, you already just conquered one thing. So you
Right.
just need to conquer the next.
Awesome. So one thing I was thinking about as I was preparing for my interview with you, I was like, okay, she's a small business owner. She has a little one, and I know some moms kind of stop going for their dreams because they have kids. So they're like, I can't start my small business because I have kids, right? And that's an excuse I hear a lot. Were you able to start Hello Moments and still have your child, and then still have and go on to have another child? Like, what has given you the strength to do that, to go ahead and start your business even though you're a mom, because sometimes like, I'm a mom, I can't possibly have my own business. What helped you get there?
I just felt like I had support
Mm.
going into it.
Right,
Because when I first started the business, I was really afraid that if I did get pregnant, that I would have to lose it all. Uh,
right,
and then when I did end up having the child, like I was working midnight, just working on stuff, whatever time,
right.
breastfeeding, and then whatever. And it just felt like I loved what I did.
Mm,
I loved like decorating, I love planning and stuff like that. So it was an outlet for me. It still is an outlet for me to not just be a mom and a wife, like
right,
doing something more. And it added another title, yes, but it also made me feel accomplished. And I think a lot of moms like they just become so enwrapped in their kids, which is great because your kids, like that's the future, right?
right, right,
But you also have a future and you also have dreams and goals. So just being able to have something for myself was important to me because you never know what happens down the line,
right,
um, part of it. But also just being around people who, a lot of the people that I've been in contact with, the community, they're a little bit older and they have older kids and they're like, their kids are older now and like imagine if they did quit, like they wouldn't have anything to do.
right,
So
right.
that is good to know. Like, even if it's not like the exact way I want it, I still have something that's mine.
I
And
love that.
take that
I
away.
love that.
Yeah,
You said like, I was a mom, I was a wife, but I still wanted to have something of my own. And then on top of that, it's like you're showing your son, like, look what mom can do. Like, yes, I'm your mom, but then hey, I also go and I started my own business with my own two hands. So you
right,
can too. So when, he's getting hard on himself, it's like, hey, remember you can do things, hard things too. And I
right,
and I want moms to hear that is you can do hard things.
right,
And yes, we get so wrapped up in our kids and we are building the future. But if you have that dream that is inside your soul that's like burning and every day you're thinking about it, and it's just one of those things that just won't go away, like it's on your mind. You know what I'm talking about because you're smiling. It's like in your soul, like that's what you're supposed to be doing. Moms, don't give that up just because you're a mom. Still
right,
figure out a way to go after what you want because I think it's so important for us to have our own identity and our own passions outside of being a
right.
mom, outside of being a wife. So that's awesome and kudos for you for going for it.
Yeah.
And
And I
on
just want
top
to
of go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, even for you, like as you're doing the podcast, like you've created something that it does involve moms, but it just celebrates women in general. So I'm just like,
Absolutely.
you'll be surprised, like the thing that you're passionate about, how there's like space for it, how you can create it that fits into your life and your livelihood, and how like it just blossoms into something that you you would never expect.
Exactly. And it's funny that you say that is because I started a podcast. So for people that have been following for a while, I started a podcast and it was kind of like a motivational podcast and I liked it. And it was, it was one of those things that I was like, I like it. But then it started to not align. And for me, if you know me, if something doesn't align, like I'm just not going to do it. I'm just like, abort the mission. That was a great idea. And then one day I woke up and I was just talking to my husband. I was like, man, I have this idea for a podcast. And he was like, what? And I was like, explaining to him. And he was like, I could see it in his face. He was just like, I really think you should do that. I was like, you think that's a good idea? And he was like, no. And he's my husband, like, he's the person that if he's like, it's not a good idea, he's like, like, don't do like, stop that. He'll support me through it, but he'll be like, I don't
That's
know about
much.
this one. But he was like, Jen, like, you really need to do this because I think that's a space for moms, for women to feel empowered. And that's what you're all about. So I think you need to do it. And then it took me like 6 months to actually do it. And so it's like, things in life just kept getting in the way. And finally I was like, okay, enough excuses. I'm doing this podcast and this is aligning. And ever since I started, I've just been so excited. Like I wake up and I'm like, oh, who do I get to interview today? It's just such a fun journey and it's just a passion of mine. And I think when you have that passion inside, don't let that die.
Yeah.
Find a way to go after it at all costs.
Definitely.
And even for you, you just graduated. She just did a black business program. I don't know if you want to plug Goldman Sachs real quick, but she just graduated. So on top of mom, on top of wife, on top of small business owner, she was able to go through another program and graduate. Like I'm just like in awe of you right now. I seriously am.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Something that I never thought would happen. But Goldman Sachs had a Black Women in Business initiative that they're doing. It was their first initial cohort, so I was part of the second group, and it just helped me learn about business and just how to expand, how to scale, how to grow. And they like catered to us, so that was great as a woman and being a mom. Like I got to go away, it was a lot of work, but like they took care of us and stuff. And so now I'm just like in the next phase of like, what should I do next? How do I grow? Having a business plan that scales upward. Um,
Right.
it was exciting. It was
Right.
very.
Yeah. And if you are a small business owner, it is a lot of work. I mean, when you are starting a business with your own two hands and you're like the one woman show, it is blood, sweat, tears, more sacrifices, sleepless nights. Things are waking you up in the middle of the night because you're like, did I do this? And did I forget to do this? And did I do a good job? And you're just constantly, your brain's like, constantly on the go. So if you're a small business owner, you know how hard it is. So kudos to you for doing that. That's awesome. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
What surprised you most about motherhood? Like what surprised you? What did you think was going to be easy and was hard, or what was hard and is easy? Like what has surprised you about this motherhood journey so far?
How much work it is?
Right?
I
Right?
I knew it's work. I knew it was work. I knew like my mom did a lot. Like she took care of us and taking us to school and stuff. But I'm like the emotional work,
Right.
the physical work,
Right.
having to play with someone all the time, like
Right.
it's exhausting. Like
Right. And
I
I
didn't
feel like our moms made it look so
I
easy. That's what like
did.
bothers me. I'm like, Mom, why did you make this look so easy?
Did. And they had like full-time jobs. They were
Right.
like they made it look like it was nothing. They had meals ready. They had
What?
yeah, and they like got us to school on time and everything. And I'm like, how did you do this all the time and not ever get tired? And I feel like our generation is more like we're taking vacations, we're going
Right.
places. Their generation didn't do that as much.
No.
And I'm like, so how are you doing all this without taking a break?
Right. That part. That part. That's a good point.
Is literally wild. Like I feel like I need a break every week.
Right. No, but it is so real. Like I feel like it's great that we talk about it so that as moms, new moms especially, come into this space, they see that like yes,
Right.
our parents made it look easy, but it's not. And it's okay to feel all of those big feelings. And
Right.
sometimes it's okay to sit and just do nothing. Like, it's
Right.
okay if your house is a complete mess. It does not have to be Pinterest perfect all the time, because being a mom is tiring.
Right.
Okay, figuring out meals for another human all
Hmm.
day long. I didn't realize the mental capacity that takes to like plan meals for other people. Like, I knew sometimes I was indecisive. Like, I don't know what I want. So then now it's like trying to figure out for a human and trying to make it somewhat nutritious, because let's be honest, those little jokers only eat what they like. And a lot of times they don't like vegetables.
So, and you feel so bad because you're like, how are you supposed to grow in the right percentile and all these other things?
Right, because God,
And
we're going to the doctor. You know, you're going to look at that curve and where does your kid fall? And then you're feeling guilty about where your kid falls, whether they're in the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. Like, we take so much on as moms. Like, what did we do? What did we do wrong?
right,
You know?
right.
So that, I'm so glad you say that, because we do need breaks. And in the spirit of breaks, what do you do for self-care? How do you take care of Michelle?
Oh, I suck at this.
That's okay. Be real. I mean, the thing is, be real, because other moms listening, they're
Yeah,
like, okay, yeah, I'm really bad at this too, but maybe something she does is
yeah.
going to help me, make sure I take care of myself.
It's funny because I think it was like a month ago. Nobody was home. I had nothing to do, and
Mm,
I could have done anything. And I
right.
knew it was the first time that had ever happened, and I didn't know what to do. My husband wasn't home. Kid was at school. Nope, I had no work, nothing. And I was like, man, this is horrible. I don't know what to do with a free time for the first.
Wow.
But I love hanging out with my friends. I know that's kind of like that's work, but it's not work because then most of them are moms. We get to hang
Right.
out and have chats. Um,
Right.
we get to vent. When I do have time, like if I can go to a spa, that'd be great.
Right.
Um, walking, just being outside is also helpful. Just
Oh,
being
yeah.
inside your mess in your home is great. Um,
Right.
and I'm a big shopper, so anytime I can go buy something, I will do that.
Definitely. Retail therapy is
Yeah,
definitely something that I didn't realize as a mom I was going to need it as much as I do, you
right.
know? Like, just being able to just walk in the store. And sometimes I end up buying for my kids, which I know that's not the best thing either.
Right.
But it's still just nice to be able to just go and
Yeah.
shop by yourself
Mhm.
and just spend some time on yourself. And you said something good, like if you have the time and the resources and the money to go to a spa, treat yourself.
Definitely.
I think a lot of times moms don't give themselves permission um, to treat themselves. Like, it's kind of like, I don't, do I deserve this? Do I deserve to spend all this money on myself, like for an hour massage? Because then, I don't know about you, I start calculating, well, if I spend this $200, I could have spent this $200 on this, on shoes, on clothes, on a toy. Like, why do we do that? It's just so crazy.
It's all the rationalizing, trying to make
Yes.
sure, everyone's taken care of but ourselves,
Oh
which
my
isn't
gosh.
fair because if you're not taken care of, you can't pour into your people and your family and stuff like that. But
Right.
it's so easy to be like, man, I'll go take the money and just go buy this instead.
Right. And I just think that, we have to start rationalizing why it's okay for us to take care of ourselves. And what you just said was so good. If you don't pour into yourself, you
Yes.
cannot pour into other people. Like, if you're pouring from an empty cup, what are
Right.
you really going to give other people? What are you putting out into this world? Nothing. Drips and drops. And who wants drips and drops of water? Like, if you're thirsty and somebody gives you a little drop, does that help you? It
No.
doesn't. So I love that you said that. Make sure you're taking time for yourself. And even if you're really bad at it, just find something that you can do,
Right.
something tangible. If it's waking up early in the morning so that you can go get a workout in, wake up early in the morning. If it's you're a night out and you need to stay up, Michelle knows this about me. Like, I'm a big TV person. And
Yes.
my thing is, I stay up until ungod hours of the night watching TV, because it's like my
Exercise.
time to like
Yep.
decompress. You know what I mean? And that's what I do. And it's one of those things that it doesn't cost a lot of money to sit and scroll TV.
Right.
I need that so that I can pour into other people, because that gives me the energy that I need to keep going. One more question. Do you experience mom guilt? And
Uh,
if so, what is like the biggest thing you feel guilty about, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. I think in a lot of areas. I also have two part-time jobs on top of that.
Girl, like I didn't even bring up the employment aspect outside of the small business. Jesus, girl.
But a lot of times, like, and one of them is church. And
Mhm.
so we're there a lot.
Right, right.
On a lot of things. I'm program coordinator. So at the beginning, when Mahershala was like one or two, he was
Hmm.
there a lot.
Right,
And
right.
he would make comments like, "We're here again."
You know, kids are honest.
are. And I felt so guilty. So, like, a lot of times I would bring him to some of the jobs that I would do for events and stuff like that. And I just
Right,
felt so guilty because I'm like, you're not supposed to be working. You're
right.
not really working, but you don't need to be here.
Mm,
So I felt guilty for just bringing him to a lot of my jobs or even a church a lot. And like, it's taking away from your childhood for
mm.
things that we could be going to the park or you just finding friends outside of school and just getting like finding community friends. You know what I mean?
Right, sure.
So as year when he became 3, I decided like I need to change that. After hearing that comment, I was like, "Oh, this is
And you
horrific."
know they're honest. They're gonna tell you. They tell you like it is.
They are. So I don't bring him around as much.
Hmm.
We'll try to split the time between me and my husband if he knows that I have a job,
Right,
um, and trying to just balance it. And then even though I'm tired, we'll go to a park. We'll
right,
go to places and stuff like that, just so
right.
I can give him some kind of balance and not be. He doesn't have to be at my work all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, it's like it's one of those things like when we start to feel guilty about things, it starts to like eat at us, you know, and you just like you're constantly thinking about it and we're constantly thinking about like how can I make it different? And even though
Right.
you're feeling guilty about it, on the other token on that is that he got to see mom working. You know, and I know you felt guilty about it, but at the same time, he's like, look at my mom, like, and then he's probably at school like, yeah, my mom works and she does it, you know. And then when they're not away, when they're away from us, they brag on us. It's crazy. Like, you don't, you know, they say little comments, but they're proud of us, and I know he's proud of you, even though he had to go, we're here again, you know what I mean? But at the same time, he got to see you working and balancing and juggling all of the things, and that's something to be proud of at the same time too. So I wanted to just share with moms that mom guilt is so real, and if
Right.
you're experiencing it, it's okay. And we all feel guilty about different things, which is why I like asking moms that question, because you feel guilty about that, and a different mom feels guilty about something totally different that you probably wouldn't even think of. So it's
Right.
okay if you feel that mom guilt, but try not to let it eat at you, you know,
Right.
because at the end of the day, we're doing the best we can as moms. And that's all we can do in this world is give our all to our kids. And sometimes we got to work. And if you got to work your part time job, you got to work your part time job. You got to come with me because daddy's working. Hey, you got to come with me, but I'm doing the best. And look at you. You're like, I'm still going to find time to take you to the park and I'm still going to do things. So it's
Right.
like we feel guilty, but we're still doing the absolute best that we can. So kudos to you for just continuing to be awesome. Is there anything else you want to share with moms? Any other piece of advice, anything you can think of that has helped you on your motherhood journey that you want to share before we wrap it up?
Yeah, find your people.
Mhm.
Because other moms or even like couple friends and stuff like that, it's fun. It makes life so much human and
Right,
relatable. Like our group, and then I have some other mom groups, and it's crazy how like so many people have different things going on, but you'll
right,
find like one or two, like, oh, I'm going through this or I'm going through that. And
right.
it's awesome just being heard and then also being told like I'm going through the same thing.
Right. I love that. Find your tribe. It is so important. I see a lot of times people are like, I don't have people. Well,
Yeah,
find them. You know,
yeah,
I don't have the greatest support system in my family. Well, make your own family. Find
yeah.
your own friends. Social media is so real. I see so many moms going on these Facebook chats saying, hey, I just need mom friends. And I'm like, kudos to you for doing that because put yourself out there so that you can find your people if you don't have them. Because a good support system is everything.
It
You're
is.
so right about that. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I appreciate you oh so very much. And like I said, I do hope the pregnancy lightens up on you so that you can get all the things done. and enjoy this time while the little one is at school too. I think that's huge. Like when they're at school, do things for yourself, whether it's just sit there and do nothing or do whatever you want to do at that time.
Time.
Yeah, that is your time, honey, and enjoy it.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Daniel.
you so
Awesome.